Hello and welcome to Bankers Connect, the platform where industry experts share their experiences, thoughts, and views. Today we are interviewing Mr. Utpal Chakraborty, head of AI at Yes Bank, an eminent data scientist, AI researcher, and a great thought leader. His recent research in machine learning titled Layered Approximation for Deep Neural Network has been appreciated in premier conferences, institutions, and universities. So let's start. I hope you will enjoy and get some great insight from this session.
So, Utpal, in the current COVID-19 pandemic situation, how the artificial intelligence and ML technology is helping the banks and financial institutions to run their operations? Can you throw some light on that? Maybe you can highlight certain day-to-day use cases where it is helping the banks.
Yes, of course. So it is not only the banking industry, but also many other industries are getting benefited from AI, ML kind of technologies during this COVID-19 scenario. So we can segment it into two types of applications. The first type is probably the customer-facing applications, wherein like chatbots or virtual assistants. So many of the banks has already rendered their services and transactions in chatbots. So chatbots are now heavily used by the customers during this lockdown scenario. They are doing a lot of transactions because many of the chatbots today, like in our bank also, there are 50 odd transactions available in our chatbot, where you can literally send money to somebody, you can book your fixed deposit, you can book your recurrent deposit, you can pay all your electricity bills, and all other services. And so that is one part. There are many other applications which are probably running behind the scene. So I'm not going to discuss those because to be more contextual, I think we talk about something which is customer facing or which is directly impacting the customers. Another example could be many of the banks and other essential services are running on limited staffs. So today probably you will not see somebody sitting at the ATM, any security guard, but the real-time what do you call monitoring system like CCTV analytics kind of things with computer vision and deep learning techniques. So automatically you can identify if something is happening within the bank ATM, if some intrusion has happened, or if some violent activities are happening, or somebody is trying to destroy your ATM. Well, and it will automatically generate a real-time alert and send it to the admin. Okay, so those applications are all AI-powered applications, and those are possible. And as I told you, like behind the scenes also, a lot of applications are working. Now, for example, I mean, we are getting a lot of customer queries, complaints in emails, right? So every day, common email box is bombarded with millions of emails, okay? Different customer queries, questions, and all those things during this COVID-19 situation. Because as customers have not been able to go to the branch, so normally they take the digital means to communicate with the bank or financial institution. So now email analytics solutions can be helpful for the banks and financial institutions to identify what are the emails which are the escalation emails or high priority emails, the emails which requires immediate attention and all those things. So manually processing those will be a time-consuming kind of thing. And as you are working with a number of staffs, so probably this kind of analytics applications wherein the AI algorithms can make your life easier.
Right, great. So you are a domain expert, and you are heading AI for big bank. How for the financial institutions and other institutions who are yet to start the AI journey, how can they start? What are the use cases which they can work on to quickly reap the benefit and how should they go about it?
Yeah. So I think I have written one article also on the same line, like how an AI platform or AI framework can make your life easy in your AI journey. So somebody who has some enterprises or organizations who have just started their AI journey, or who are about to start their journey, I think a platform would be very, very helpful in this journey, because there are a couple of benefits there. And don't take this platform or a framework as heavyweight kind of a thing. It could be as light as a couple of components, okay, building, and it will make your life real easy. So first of all, some of the core components of the platform could be your data integration layer. Okay, so any AI algorithm will require data, okay, and that data will come from different sources. So it could be from your enterprise applications. It could be the source could be from outside. Okay, it could be a data lake of your organization, or a data warehouse kind of thing. And how to make this data ingestible for the AI algorithm to process and do the predictions and all those things. So there, your AI integration layer will help a lot. And then you have something called like AI assets or AI ecosystem, okay, wherein you can have all your AI capabilities. So as AI is a umbrella term, and many other technologies comes under the purview of AI. So it could be your machine learning models. This could be some of your NLP models, natural language processing models. It could be some of your deep learning models that can come. And also there could be some of the available services provided by different providers, like Amazon is providing, then your Microsoft is providing Microsoft Cognitive Services. Similarly, Google has services kind of thing. And basically on top of that, you build your use cases. So once you ground up this, okay, once you build this, the core of the framework, developers can easily concentrate on actually building the business use cases, and he will not have to ground up everything again and again. Because today, if you look at, I mean, if you want to build any AI use case, probably you will start with building a POC, proof of concept, right? And then only you go for a full-blown project, because your business wants to see, I mean, whether how it is working, kind of thing. So for building POC, probably within a couple of weeks, you can build and test your POC, and you can showcase it to your customer. In that way, I mean, the platform helps. But if you have to ground up everything again and again, then basically your preparation time takes a lot of head, and basically you lose out of time in that way. So that's why if you build a platform, a very simple platform with a couple of layers, okay, your data integration layer, your AI assets kind of thing, and your hosting layer. Because your AI applications, whatever you build, whether it is a chatbot, whether it is any kind of application, it is for a credit risk assessment, or it is a robo advisor, or it is fraud detection kind of system, or even email analytics. So you need to host that application to some other application. So you create a hosting layer, okay, say a middleware, wherein basically your application can be easily hooked into the hosting applications kind of thing. So I think this is one thing I would suggest every organization should think through, because as AI is an evolving field, so essentially you do a lot of experimentation while building any kind of applications, right? And many times you will see that you proceed in one way, and probably in between you will have to take a different kind of approach. Okay, so if your platform is there and your all other components are already ready, then your developers can completely focus on building the actual business logic, or tuning your different models so that it gives the right accuracy and all those things kind of thing. So that in that way, it is going to be very helpful.
So if I could get it right, what you're saying is, rather than going individual case by case, have the building blocks first, have a platform have your data integration or ingestion layer there, have your environment where you are going to run your models set up, have your deployment uh, thing ready where you can, in a middle where you can put up the runtime stuff. And so have this framework platform ready, and then you can quickly then you can start on use cases case by case.
Absolutely,
Right,
absolutely.
right. And I believe the and luckily the cloud-based solutions that you said, like your AWS, Microsoft, uh, Google Cloud, they are offering a lot of capabilities, and there are certain platforms which are specifically uh, 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 meant for this purpose.
Yes,
Can
absolutely.
have you up, have you go. Uh, have you up and running pretty fast, right?
Correct.
Okay. So,
True.
yeah, you want. So, could you throw on some light on the use cases, which could be of most relevance, or somebody who's starting the journey? What are the use cases specifically on banking and finance? Because uh, our target audience would be interested in more of banking and financial services. So, what are the use
Yeah,
cases into your mind? Yeah, and you also
yeah.
have
So,
expertise in banking and finance. Yeah.
right. So, some of them are already. I mean, many of the companies or startups, they have either built those solutions. Some of them are productized, definitely. But there are many areas, okay, wherein in banking and finance, especially, wherein AI can play a major role. So
Mm,
now the concept of embedded AI is coming.
mm,
So
mm,
one thing is like building your isolated AI applications. Another
mm,
thing is how you can bring in intelligence within your enterprise system, okay?
mm,
Within your
mhm,
existing enterprise systems, to bring in that customer experience, to bring in that efficiency in the application. So that is going to be a core focus. And many of the banks are running some of the initiatives to identify use cases the areas within their AI applications wherein they can implement this machine learning kind of techniques to bring in that smartness into that. But having said that, there are many more use cases like fraud detection is one area wherein AI is very prevalent because historically or like in a conventional way, the fraud detection in transactions used to be mostly like rule-based kind of things. But the
right.
fraudsters are now evolving, okay? And they are applying more and more newer techniques. So in that way, machine learning can be a great help into this area. Similarly, on the anti-money laundering cases also. So money laundering happens, and it is very difficult with normal rule-based kind of things or normal expertise to identify how the illegitimate money is flowing into the banking systems and going into cross-border and for terrorist funding or for any kind of illegal activities. So with machine learning and a lot of visualization techniques and even deep learnings, it is now possible to identify those kind of money laundering cases. So this is one of these things. Now, credit risk assessment is one area wherein many of the banks, not only in India but outside, they are also focusing on. Some people have already implemented. Some people are going to be. They are going to implement in a couple of years. So before giving any kind of financial aid to the customers, especially for the high net worth customers or wherein a high volume of fund need to be given, so they do all kind of due diligence by integrating different data source of the customer, not only the different transactional data and this data, but also news sources, the other social media sources, and all other sources, and see whether this particular customer is actually eligible for giving kind of a financial aid or not. So that is one area it is there. Even for giving small financial, what do you call, aid also, some of the companies in China and all, they did behavioral analytics. So here, basically, they don't look at the KYC kind of things, but they mostly look at the behavior of the customer through their mobile, by churning out the mobile phone data. Okay, what kind of what do you call, things they buy, where they go, when they get their salary, by what time their salary gets. So all kind of things they used to what do you call, churn out those data and take a decision. So this is also a major area wherein many of the banks and financial institutions are focusing on. Then the digital channels, as I told you. So conversational banking is going to be the future, and I think conversational banking is going to take over all other forms of channels that are the digital channels that are available. So like chatbots, then virtual assistants like Alexa, Google Home, and all other devices. So you can perform your transaction like Alexa, send this much money to my driver, or send this much, or book FD for me of this much amount. All those things. So these are also going to be a huge focus, because it's not only banks. If you see, the conversational banking itself is having a huge focus by the giants like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and they are investing a lot because they know that this is going to be the future of banking. Email analytics I talk about, like this is also an area. Then there are areas like unstructured document processing or unstructured data processing, wherein because these banks and financial institutions are into data intensive business and document intensive business. So basically, and they generate a lot of unstructured documents and unstructured data. So if we talk about only documents only, how you can process those documents efficiently without human intervention, with much lesser time, avoiding human error. They are the cognitive document processing techniques comes into picture. And here basically a combination of technologies used. So you use NLP and then use some amount of machine learning models. And for some critical elements to be picked up from the document, probably you require to use even deep learning models like recurrent neural network or LSTM, long short-term memory kind of things. So this is also an area mostly for the loan processing departments or any kind of insurance departments. They find this kind of solutions very, very helpful when it comes to the cognitive data processing.
Okay.
Other areas like for customer service kind of things, wherein if you want to do analytics on your customer service quality monitoring, okay, so your customer, how your customer service team is talking with your customers, the quality of the conversation, and also how you can cross-sell or upsell something within the conversation. And nowadays there are applications available wherein you can guide your customer service as in real time, okay. So your monitoring system will continuously monitor the interaction that is happening between your customer service agent and your customer, and within the conversation only real time it can guide you to do any kind of cross sell or upsell or any kind of this thing. So that is also possible. So these are some of these things, but I can keep going and going because there are many.
So as I could get it, you are saying like analytics, which used to be more like not in the real time. Somebody would do the analytics and machine learning, and then make the changes in the system, or apply the learnings in the existing systems. Things are moving from there to the real time embedded analytics that you said, and you mentioned about a couple of use cases here. Credit decisioning, or fraud detection, anti-money laundering, document processing. So those are great use cases. You also mentioned about certain technologies like within the AI, like neural networks, deep learning. So uh, can you talk about these technologies a bit? Uh,
Yeah. So, so if we look at, I mean, on a high level, if we look at artificial intelligence, so I mean, it is an umbrella term. Okay,
hmm,
under artificial intelligence, you have got machine learning, which is a bigger portion of AI. And under that, you can say the deep learning using neural networks is an area which is getting lot and lot focus nowadays because it has got immense capabilities compared to. So if you look at machine
mhm,
learning models are basically statistical models. Okay, so they are coming from
mhm,
statistical background kind of thing, and these models are for long. Okay? But now probably people are focusing more and more into that because now we have got enormous amount of data. We have got enormous processing capability. So we can definitely churn out data in a very short duration with the machine learning models, and we can actually get the inference out of that, the intelligence which is actually hiding within the data that can be done very easily using machine learning models. Now, neural networks are basically inspired from human way of cognition, human brain, how our neural system works, and these are very successful today to look at. So especially in computer vision, like any kind of image analysis, identifying image, identifying some objects, and all those things. So those are basically use cases of computer vision, and they are deep learning using artificial neural networks are being used. So here mainly convolutional neural network CNN is of great use. But the other neural networks like recurrent neural networks or any kind of time series model or LSTM kind of thing, long short-term memory, which is also a variant of recurrent neural network. That can be there. There are multiple uses, but that can be used for text processing. That can be used for video analytics. That can be used for your what do you call voice analytics or speech analytics and all other areas. So more and more these deep learning techniques are getting popularity because this once you have enough data and quality data, and once you can train your models, deep learning models well, it can do wonders basically. Okay, and probably during COVID-19 also you have heard that in China they have developed a deep learning algorithm wherein only with CT scan they can identify whether it is a COVID-19 patient or not.
oh,
96% of accuracy, and also it can identify. I mean, what is the severity of the COVID-19 patient? So this is amazing, right? In terms of because if you look at COVID testing today, it is still cumbersome and it takes a lot of time. But if it can identify within only CT scan or a MRI image, then probably within half an hour you get the result of kind of thing. So that is so in many areas like deep learning models are used in check processing, automatic
hmm,
check processing, and your signature verification, wherein it can do the signature verification much more efficiently than your human experts. Okay, so
right.
it's there. Yeah, right.
Right. So you said signature verification. I could get it. I mean, some of the when you said voice analytics and video analytics. So I think there it can help in improving the customer service. The customer experience stuff. Uh, yeah. Uh, do you see this thing helping somehow in lending as well, the deep learning models? Say you mentioned about China and they're doing lending based on the behavioral analysis. To my mind, it is somewhere based on the deep learning models. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, you are right. In many cases, so as I told you, nowadays even many applications which were running for a couple of years and where the machine learning, the vanilla machine learning models or the statistical machine learning models has been used, now been replaced with deep learning. Deep learning has much more accuracy. The only thing is you require a lot of data to train the deep learning model, and probably the training time will be a little bit longer, and you require GPUs and TPUs to train your models. But once it is trained well, I think the accuracy of the results are much more than your machine learning models. So definitely, yes. But another approach is also prevalent in many of the companies. They are doing this kind of thing. It's a combination of machine learning and deep learning. So probably in some of the areas they use machine learning within that same use case, and for some they are using deep learning kind of things. So definitely machine learning models are less costly in terms of your processing capability, in terms of the data required for training and all. Deep learning models definitely requires more data and more training time. But accuracy wise, definitely deep learning models are taking over the machine learning models.
So they can, I mean, for the same use case, you are saying the machine learning models can be used, but deep learning models can do it better, and over a period, probably deep learning models will take over the other machine learning statistical kind of machine learning models, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
as you said, I mean, you brought in a very interesting point. So, 100% accuracy in prediction probably is not possible either with machine learning or deep learning algorithms, right? In a real business use case. The first day you deploy it into your production environment, probably you will not get that accuracy. Okay, so probably you can reach up to 90% accuracy. So if you get 90%, also it is very good. And you can definitely expect some of the transactions will move into your exception queues. Okay, wherein either your machine learning model or your deep learning model will not be able to identify or predict or process it. So that will go into your exception queue. So while building any AI application, you should also think of building a feedback learning loop, wherein those cases or those scenarios which goes into your exception queue, that can be feedback into your learning process, so that next time your algorithm doesn't encounter, if it encounters the same kind of problem, it doesn't throw it into your exception queue. So that is the learning basically. So the self-learning that we call is nothing but through the feedback loop, and also it could be human-assisted learning also in many cases. And it is the essential element of when you build any kind of machine learning or deep learning model, you should think of the feedback learning kind of things.
Okay, great. So in one of your talks, you talked about digitization, from digitization to cognification. I guess this is what you meant when you said from digitization to cognification, wherein machines are becoming smarter and more acting like human beings, or intelligence is like human beings. This is what you meant, right?
Yeah, so when I say from digitization to cognification, is basically, so I feel now digitization is hygiene. Okay, so almost all the services, physical services, we have already tried to digitize it, and probably many of those are already digitized. So it has become hygiene now. Now the world is moving towards cognification. That means how to bring in that human intelligence or human cognitive element within in your application. So that is cognification, bringing the cognitive element. So I'll give you an example. So we have used RPA, robotic process automation, right? So robotic process automation implemented in most of the enterprises, they have been successfully able to what you call automate all the repetitive tasks, right? Which doesn't require that much of human intelligence. Now people are thinking that no, not only this repetitive task where human intelligence is not required, but also if we can digitize some of the tasks wherein a little bit of human intelligence is required. So that's where IRPA has come into picture. So now RPA tools are being powered with AI and machine learning kind of things. So definitely, I mean, that digitization is also, the automation is also moving towards cognification, bringing that cognitive element.
Great. One or two last questions. I guess we are short of time. So first is IoT. IoT is and edge computing is in talks, and especially with 5G coming in. How do you see this fitting into the banking environment?
Yes, so let's talk about a little bit broader. So this technology, I think when we see, so now many people are saying that we are currently living in the golden era of AI and fintech and IoT and all those things. So any golden era is probably attributed not only by one technology, but multiple technologies come together, okay, and it makes a golden era, right? So if we talk about the technological landscape today, so big data is one area, okay, which has contributed a lot towards this golden era, right? The Hadoop kind of a system, the big data kind of environment wherein we can store and process huge amount of data kind of thing, and which is basically contributing towards AI and all those things. Similarly, IoT. So IoT and AI kind of a combination is a very golden combination, you can say, and in many areas, okay, this combination is working well, because IoT is definitely required, because these are actual digital devices, okay, from which you can get the data, and AI can basically bring in that kind of intelligence within your IoT devices by processing those data. So now many of the IoT platforms are basically powered by AI. So I'll give you some example. So take the case of home automation, right? So in home automation, basically, if you really want to make the home automation intelligent or smart, then probably you need to churn out all the data that are coming from your IoT devices, whether it is your camera, the different sensors, it could be heat sensor, your humidity sensor, and any kind of hazard detection centers that we deploy for electrical hazard or gas hazard or something like that. So this data is coming from your IoT devices, and you churn out this data in your AI platform, okay, this sensor data, and you can really do different kind of predictions. For example, what is the lifestyle of a particular individual? Okay, so you can automatically know, at what point of time, okay, he wants what kind of AC temperature or what kind of a lighting condition, kind of thing. So this is one way that we can personalize the experience as per his need, okay, automatically by churning out that data. And now think of the same kind of automation that has been done in a hospital or in a shopping mall. So here we can optimize the use of the different systems and the energy optimization. Actually, we can do using AI platform, because AI can actually chart out at what time the hospital doesn't require that kind of electricity power, or the mall doesn't require that kind of air conditioning. Okay, and it can automatically retune the platform, so that you need not have to give instructions. It automatically understands and it can do. So similarly, in banking areas also, as I told you, like one of the security monitoring use case which we discussed, this is nothing but a combination of your IoT and AI. Similarly, for any data centers, okay. So in data centers, if you look at, there are many sensors embedded within the data centers to see the heat, see if there is any hazard, see anybody is intruding within the data center and all those things. And actually, the information coming out from these IoT devices are being processed in an AI platform, basically. Then only actually you will get the actual smartness and actual beauty of these devices.
Great. Last question to you, Utpal. uh, privacy and data protection is one of the key uh, uh, concerns, and banks and financial institutions are highly regulated, and privacy is being questioned nowadays. How do you see this? And I believe most of the banks see this as is a big barrier to innovation, and so what's your take on this? uh,
Yeah. So I think,
how
yeah. So I think we should draw some kind of a line, okay, between what is really privacy and what can be shared. Because one thing we should understand, that any kind of AI systems or any kind of digital systems, if you don't share some amount of your personal information, it cannot do things in a personalized manner to you. It is as good as a human. So probably you have got a human assistant. Okay, so if you don't share some of your personal data, probably he or she will not be able to work in an efficient manner. Okay, because he or she will not be able to know your likings, your dislikings, your preferences, and all those things. So same goes for any kind of AI algorithm, right? So if you don't share any of your data, then definitely you cannot expect that kind of a personalized service given to you. So having said that, I think already a mini version of the GDPR is coming into India also. And definitely they will draw a line between what is actually private data and which cannot be shared or which cannot be used for training any kind of AI algorithm, and which can be. And I'm sure that 70% to 80% of our data can easily be made accessible to legitimate AI algorithms. And it will definitely make our life easy rather than posing any kind of serious consequences. So that's what my belief is. And coming to security, because you talked about security also, security is definitely should be the first priority for any of the highly regulated and any kind of institutions who are basically holding the financial information of their customers. And for that, I think already banks and financial institutions has taken special care on that. Not only securing the data, securing and having the data within their premise, or if it is on the cloud, also within the boundary of the country. So that has been taken care. The cyber security has been taken care very aggressively, and here also AI can help a lot, because many of the cyber security platforms coming today are AI and machine learning powered, wherein what it does is it models the different devices, different individuals, and different systems within the ecosystem, and it takes a probabilistic approach. Like whenever some kind of what do you call undue things happens, then it automatically generate an alert, and also it can cut those kind of connections also. So this cognitive cyber security using machine learning and deep learning is also there. So there are many platforms they're using it, and they call it enterprise immune system. Like our human immune system, it is enterprise immune system. So it acts like a human system, and it takes a probabilistic approach. And whenever there is an attack or something, what do you call unnatural is going on, it automatically takes that action. And that helps, because you cannot have a 24/7 monitoring systems, or neither you can take a deterministic approach to what do you call stop all types of transactions, all types of activities. So you will have to make that trade-off. Okay, and machine learning is helping a lot in this area also.
Okay, great. So, and I guess that's where the responsible use of the technology and so-called ethical AI also comes in the picture. We are hearing this ethical AI a lot more. So, are there any specifics to it, like when people talk about ethical AI, right? What actually you consider as an ethical AI and unethical, so to say, AI?
So I think it is not only AI, but for any technology which is being powered with such kind of a immense capability, should have that this ethical thing tagged to it, whether it is nuclear, whether it is bio or AI, okay, whatever
Acha.
it is. So this ethical thing should always be there, because if this technology can give you immense capability, but at the same time, if it goes to the wrong hand, so definitely there could be a huge destruction that can happen to your organization or to the entire humanity. Okay, and that's what is happening in many cases. So that ethics should be tagged on this. That should be associated with not only AI but any powerful technologies in that matter.
Good, great. Uh, uh, Last thing, uh, what can Indian banks and financial institution learn from the Western world, the advanced countries like US and the banks, include big banks there, and what can they adopt from those institutions?
Yeah, so here I must tell you one thing, that Indian banks on a technology front are
Hmm.
actually no way inferior or no way behind any Western banks. Okay?
Okay.
Because why I'm saying so is, probably the Indian banks, they take a what do you call, a wait and watch kind of a approach, but many times they do this kind of experimentation well in advance. Okay, and they basically see and wait and see for the regulatory things to be clear up to implement this kind of technologies. But having said that, yes, it is not only, I mean, learning from Western banks. It is more of the sharing of intelligence or sharing of ideas or sharing of innovations, basically. So definitely, Indian banks can learn the good things or the good implementations of different new gen technologies from Western and outside banks. Similarly, there are many things that Indian banks are also doing innovatively, that the Western banks should take, and they can basically do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Utpal. It was wonderful talking to you, and I hope our listeners will enjoy this and get a lot of learning from your experience on this. Thank you, and stay safe. Uh,
Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you very much. It was great talking to you, and you also stay safe, and please be careful in this crisis time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.